Good morning. This is the 60 Seconds to Serenity with Gregg Hammond, and it is Tuesday, January 16, 2018. 60 Seconds to Serenity, where we use our breathing and our higher faculties for 60 seconds to just use that 60-second window of time to bring ourselves into the calm mind. The idea is that we're creating all of these new habits through 60 Seconds to Serenity and the tools here that I'm sharing. We're able to create a high vibration for ourselves, keep ourselves in a high vibration, and respond to things going on throughout the day. And I've given a ton of examples in the past weeks. We're coming up close to 90 days of the stretch of the 60 Seconds to Serenity preparation of your garden, right? Of the soil. We're preparing the soil of our life as we come into a new year, a new solstice time, going towards spring solstice, preparing for a spring and a growth of all of these amazing things. And so these tools of non-dominant handwriting, pairing our breath with our positive affirmations, using a lot of very positive statements to remove disempowering statements. And I have something to share, which I think is, came to me. I remember when I first heard it was through Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it reminded me of, like, it gave me a flashback into my life, and it's very powerful. So I'm gonna read through it. It's by Porter Nelson. It's a story. It's a short story, right? And the title is Autobiography in 5 Short Chapters, and it's not my autobiography, but it is my autobiography. I didn't write this. I'm just sharing this, right? And every time I see it, I'm like, I'm able to reflect back, and it's very, very important to me as I am making my journey to think about this and be reminded as I discover things, more and more of my awareness building, right? As my awareness builds through the tools, I continually increase my tools, my personal self-growth tools, right? See if I can stop being so sparkly. Even the water behind me was sparkly. So this autobiography in 5 short chapters, right? I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. And it takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the same street. This is chapter 2. That was chapter 1. Chapter 2, right? I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it, and I fall in again. And I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. And it takes me a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. That statement right there. It's a habit. And habits are challenging to shift, and that's what we're doing with this. So the rest of the chapter. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. In the last chapter, I walk down another street. So the change happens because of choice, because of the power of choice. Recognizing, this is the habit, I continue to do this, it's not serving me. It is my choice, and I have the ability to shift and get out of that situation, which is ties back into the powerful statements that we've been saying, the empowering statements, and I have mentioned, write down as many as you can. But I live in paradise is the mindset. If your mindset is that you live in paradise, it totally shifts things. Part of it is realizing that you do have the ability to shift things. It's a choice. It takes work. Many people are able to do that when they realize, when they are able to surrender to the fact that, hey, I have the choice to change my habits and to trim them back. And the part of the tool of responding, being able to respond, part of that superpower of a calm mind and a serene mind, responding to things going on as opposed to reacting, is challenging because we are basically conditioned from all of our environment to react to things, and that's it is not what you want. It's not what you have to accept. It is a choice to acknowledge it, to be aware of it, and to shift. And then you rise by lifting others, right? By helping other people while you're helping yourself. I'm having some water. I always mention the water. It's important to hydrate yourself, right? Physically, so that you are able, that's another part of the fuel, right? To be able to respond. If you're dehydrated, you will react more as opposed to respond to things going on in your daily routine. So changing the habits, making the choices, practicing to continue to make choices that are going to shift those habits. And when you shift all of these different habits and you shift the habits that you don't desire, you shift those out, you become aware that you're doing these, you shift them away by adding in habits that you do want. Drinking lots of water, exercising, taking time for yourself to tune into 60 Seconds to Serenity, to continue learning something, to go back through 60 Seconds Serenity videos from all the way in October and watching those and seeing the repetition and seeing the power of preparing your garden soil, your life's garden soil, so that these seeds that are being planted as we plant these little things, each time that you tune in something small, either you may know what it was, you may not even notice that these little things are being planted, so that by the time spring gets here, you have these habits that are healthy and they're growing and they're continuing to get better. We've done the non-dominant hand exercise. We've been working through our gratitude list. 10 things, writing down 10 things. This is from in July, near the beginning of this booklet. I recommend you have the journals that you're writing in. I do all of my non-dominant hand exercise, or I do all of the gratitude with non-dominant hand, as well as writing out paragraphs, as well as writing out the name, your name. You write your name in your journal, your name, the day of the week, the month, the time of sunrise, the time of sunset. We put humidity in there and wind direction. And the reason that we listed all of those things is because you're building your awareness. The more that you are repeating that same thing and you're writing those same things, your awareness builds. You start to see the way that you actually approach the page with the pen when you're using it in a hand that you've not trained yourself in, right? Everybody can use both hands. It's just that we started very young with one specific hand and became trained and have the habit of being able to pick up the pen. But for balance, it is a fantastic tool to use non-dominant hand exercises. We're writing out just a little bit of stuff and keep adding stuff in there. Always start with a little bit and then increase. Creating the habit and the new habit for higher faculties, for your own personal observation, building awareness. And we use these awareness tools to make life better for ourselves. And it's a focus in a very healthy, positive way to focus on ourselves so that we become better, so we serve our community in a better way. And by taking the small steps to make our life better, we do make the world a better place. We become the change that we want to see by doing that ourselves. So, talked about the gratitude. You're writing your gratitude list. You're writing out, if you had started with us on this, congratulations. If you haven't, congratulations, because today is the first day that you could do it, right? And that is to find the Serenity chapter in the book As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Find this Serenity chapter, and if you don't have time for whatever reason, and that's a choice too, you can find a way to squeeze in the time. Just at least read through it, or get the audio and listen to the audio. The whole thing is less than an hour, and it's very powerful. I try to listen a few times a week. I have it on audio, and so as I run through a few things around the house that I need to do, and or running errands, or exercising, I put the earbuds in, and I listen to some audio book, but a lot of times it's James Allen's As a Man Thinketh, because of how profound that is, and because repetition creates results, just like any kind of exercise program, just like learning to play an instrument. Very powerful, and it's a commitment to yourself. And we are 16 days into a new year, and a lot of times people have run into those potholes. They've run into the potholes, and the habits have created the potholes, and they've fallen in there, and they're like, forget it, I've already messed up my New Year's resolution. But the New Year's resolution isn't something that is only specific and has to be maintained. It is a choice, and it's a series of choices, right? It is the choice of the goal that you're setting out for, but it is a series of choices. And so you look at it as, in order to achieve that, you have a million choices that have to take place to get to that. And the million choices are all of these small, tiny choices. And it's one of those choices where if you drink a lot of caffeinated beverages or sodas or something like that, drinks with a lot of sugar, a fruit drink that has more sugar than you knew was in there until you looked at the label and you said, wow, it's 4 types of sugar in here. Or if you didn't know that they disguised sugar definition on things, you start to learn that, and you're like, wow. And so these are small little choices, right? And then you look and you say, well, I'm not going to drink that anymore. I'm going to have I'm going to replace one of the drinks that I shouldn't have, and I'm going to replace it with one that I should, and add in water. That's one choice, right? Or that is one choice to consume the water, but it's several other choices, right? So those choices are all part of the bigger choice. And so if you have gotten to the 16th of January here, and you are feeling like, oh, I fell right off the day of, the goals of the year, as opposed to what's the goal of the day, which is just to maintain these little choices through the day and try to continue to make these powerful habit changing choices. I'm adding some chimes there. I'm going to hop off. I have to get to my study, but I wanted to share those little bits today, and I'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday. I do Monday through Friday of the 60 Seconds to Serenity. There's tons of these videos from all the way from October, and you can check those out for tons of information to see what these little bits are that have prepared this soil so that we have healthy soil for seeds to pop in and for nice, healthy growth as we come through toward spring, right? We have one day at a time that we're taking towards personal change by focusing on our awareness and our choices. Peace, love, and music. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in. And let me see if I can go back to the sparkly. I'll sign off with a sparkly thank you. And oh, there it is. Now I can see all the comments. It's hard for me to focus on what I'm showing you if the comments are popping up there. I see a lot of people hopped on. Peace, love, and music to you. I will see you tomorrow.